Okay, let's get right into it. This is the second official edition of the Self-Publishing Stream series brought to you by Self-Publishing with Dale and, of course, the fine folks over at Restream. So, boy, we had quite a session this past week. If you hadn't had the opportunity, there is a link inside the notes down below or wherever you're watching from, be it over on YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, and beyond. You should be able to get access to that replay. Self-publishing and live streaming is the unlikely duo. Not many people realize that they actually work really, really well together, especially considering the day and age that we're in. You can kill two birds with one stone. And I'll tell you that this is relatively new. There's a small movement of authors and live streamers that are starting to take advantage of doing something like this. We're at the beginning stages of a new movement in video and writing and publishing. So what can viewers expect coming forward here with the Self-Publish and Stream series? You're going to find out everything from point A to point Z and all the steps in between. And I try to break it out for you. This past week, we covered a little bit. So you want to make sure that you stay tuned, get notifications on each one of these broadcasts at Tuesday at 2 p.m. Go over to dalelinks.com/stream to get yourself set up right away on the notification train. And speaking of setup, hey, I want to give you 7 days of the free of the Restream Pro. So if you're looking to try out Restream, and what I'm using currently right now to broadcast to you is Restream Pro, you can get 7 days for free. Go over to dalelinks.com/Restream Pro to get your 7-day free trial. Okay, so let's get on into the screen share, if you will. All right, so right here, let me go ahead. I need to kill something here really fast there. Boom. All right. Perfect. It was covering me up. We don't want to hide my pretty face, right? All right. So with this next part, I really kind of roped a lot of you in. I said, don't self-publish and stream a book unless you do this. And I will tell you the rather egregious mistake that I made that I happened to leave out the last time, because, well, you're going to find out about it today. Okay, so just to recap, last time I shared with you folks is June the 11th, 2020. I did a live stream on my channel, roughly, I think, 30,000, 40,000 subscribers right about that time. And I did what's called a Writing a Book in 24 Hours challenge, Write With Me Live. And so essentially what I did was I brought everybody to a live stream, and I shared the writing experience along with them. Now, initially, when I did this, I didn't show them the over-the-shoulder look, but in future iterations, I did, and I found there was much, much more engagement when I did it that way. But essentially, I outlined all the content of what I was going to be doing and writing ahead of time, and then all I did was controlled bursts of writing live and had my own live accountability buddies and some people that actually joined along with me. So you fast forward to September the 7th of 2020 is when I actually released that book. Yeah, that's right. I'm probably clinically insane because that is a fast time to turn things around, but that's just how I work. And I believe that everybody can do that so long as they have certain processes in place. You're watching today, I'll tell you those processes. But I published Amazon Keywords for Books. It went on to sell 65 copies on launch day, became a best-selling book, became a 5-time award-winning book. It's been published in ebook, paperback, hardcover, and audiobook. That means I make revenue from this. So if you happen to be a live streamer and someone thinking about dabbling into the world of writing and publishing, you may want to think about this, because this is a very viable method and another way that you're putting these 4 different assets out there between ebook, paperback, and hardcover, as well as audiobook. It advertises your live streaming brand. And here's the cool thing. Most platforms like Amazon KDP, it's 100% free to upload there. You don't have to have any money to do that over on KDP. Not bad, right? Well, what gets bad is the disconnect, where I messed up. Yes, this is rather accurate. I just completely unplugged, and I didn't, think about the opportunity and how I kind of left things kind of hanging there. Many of my followers were left wondering, hey, what happened with that book? And I'm kind of I'm working on it. And a lot of people were like, well, can we do more writing with you? And someone even said, why don't we do the editing with you? And at the time I was like, but truthfully, I dropped the ball. To be honest, I probably could have done a much better job of really promoting this upcoming release. Now, yes, I did. And there's some things in this process I'm going to tell you today where I didn't drop the ball, that we clearly had a big victory. But for the most part, I think that if I had thought this through, like I did the 2 subsequent books, we would have won big time, much bigger than what we did on that launch day. So here we are. Drop the ball. Viewers could have been, they were actually already invested in the writing of this product, and seeing this project through really meant something to them. That's why on the subsequent books, I said, you know what? Give the audience what they want. Let's do it. Let's do this. Because here's the deal. Once you start the hype train, don't stop it. Don't stop it until it's out. Sure, it's going to require a little bit more time and effort, but I promise you it will pay off in spades. You're going to just absolutely love seeing the results when you get done with this. So stick around to the very end, because I'm going to be sharing the strategy for live streaming this entire process. I have to kind of lay the groundwork first before we bring this full circle and add live streaming to it. So any rate, we got to start it out. I had the manuscript, okay, did it live on the air. But the next steps that I did, I said, you know what, I'm just going to kind of do this on my own. Because I was just like, I'm not feeling much up for it. And so when I did the 2 subsequent books, I said, okay, let's do this. So we've already got the hype train started. Let's bring everybody in on the editing process. Yes, you should not write a book and publish it without fully editing it. Now, editing, a lot of people have used this word and abused it in many occasions. But when it comes to editing, it really is a little bit more in depth than you would think. So stay with me here on this one here. And I'm not trying to sell you hard on this area, but it's really important that if you want to be perceived as the authority in your niche, if you want to be recognized as the go-to resource, editing is absolutely fundamental. You have to do that. So it really gets it to where everything's showroom ready and readers can appreciate your book rather than giving it a 1 star and saying, I could hardly make it through 1 page. So we're going to start it out with solo editing. Let's just say, for instance, that you wrote the book and you're going to edit. Now, remember, we're going to live stream this stuff later on. I'll explain that. I'll come back to it. I promise you. So the most important thing is, let's say you did a live writing sprint of some sort and everybody enjoyed it. And you're like, you know what? You're riding high on things. And you say, let's go ahead and let's start editing now. Time out. Time out. No. Hold off. Absence makes the heart grow fonder. And when it comes to writing, you have to give yourself at least a 24-hour window before you attack that work, because your brain is going to be tricking you into thinking something is written a certain way when it's written another way. We have a little bit of that cognitive bias, if you will, where we're kind of like, it's great. Of course, I wrote it. But let's be honest. If you did live stream this process, there's going to be a little extra pressure for you to write things in front of a live audience. So there's going to be some mistakes. It will happen. There's going to be some continuity errors. There's going to be some gaping holes where you should probably have your work kind of cleaned up. That's why editing comes into play. So let's go ahead and take a deeper look at things here. I pulled up that screen a little too soon here. I do 3 rounds of quick edits. Okay, stream this process. And if you have a very detailed manuscript, it's going to require a little bit of work. So I do 3 rounds. Now, when I say quick edits, I really mean quick. Like, you're going to go through really fast. So let's take my manuscript that I have here. This was actually the original manuscript. No editing done whatsoever on it. I had to pull it up for today's broadcast. So here we go. Let's go into review. Now, if you've got Pages and you've got Microsoft, or not Microsoft, you have Google Docs, then there's other versions of their editor that you can kind of find. But just for, ease of sharing, what I do is I hit the editor and it's going to go through and figure out what are some of the errors. So I'm just going to click on some of these errors and it's highlighting these things They've been replaced by mindfulness, Instapots, and keto diet. So it's highlighting Instapot. Instapot is just fine. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to add that to dictionary. Not bad. Lamborghini, I will imagine that I spelt it wrong. So here we go. We'll fix Lamborghini. Boom. It doesn't want me to use slang like ain't, but I disagree. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add it to dictionary. So we've got those spelling mistakes done. We go through, we're going to hit the actual grammar. So this is kind of nice. We're going to say, but it's saying that I shouldn't have a comma after that. So we'll leave that as that. But there we go. Okay, so here it's saying, I'd imagine we had all not had that shared interest. Okay, so it says, we should probably fix it with did not have. So we can go through and fix a lot of this process. The bottom line is this, is go through as fast as humanly possible while trying to at least discern whether or not Microsoft Editor is on the same page as you, because there's going to come some times where it may not know and you're going to have to train it up. And other times it might be your personality you would like to evoke anytime someone reads this. So over editing it might not be a good idea. That's the nice thing about these quick edits, because you just think, snap decision. All right, you're not done yet. You're just going through a quick edit. Like, this is not ready to go to market at all. So the very next step that I do is a process with one of my preferred software out there, and it is Pro Writing Aid. Now, I've already got Pro Writing Aid installed into Microsoft Word, and we just simply come over here and we're going to hit Start Real Time. And so it's going to go through here. And it's going to show all these things. By the way, before I forget, you can get free access over to Pro Writing Aid, or even get 20% off when you visit my affiliate link at dalelinks.com/pro writing aid. Again, that's dalelinks.com/pro writing aid. Get yourself some access. The free version's great. I recommend the premium version if you can afford it. I bought a lifetime license and I've not regretted that ever since. So same process is going to happen. The nice thing is this is more granular. Pro Writing Aid gets down to the nitty gritty. Everything from sentence structure and continuity, has different types of reports we can do, such as grammar and style. We can find the thesaurus. We can do any number of these things. Acronyms. We can even scan this for plagiarism. Not that I spent time plagiarizing anything, but it is good to have in the event that for some reason you're afraid that you might step on someone's toes. Plagiarism feature is just brilliant. So, all right. So that was step 2 of the quick edits. Now you're probably saying, all right, Dale, now we're done, right? Now we're going to go ahead and we live stream that. No, you're not done. We're going to do 3 rounds of edits before we go outside of our little bubble here. So with that said, the next one, this one right here, is a game changer. I promise you, you are going to find it changes everything for you. You can do this on your blog posts. You can do it on your social media if you wanted to. Having it read back to you makes all the difference in the world. Now, I don't have my sound turned on right now, enabled for the live stream, but I will go ahead. What I'm showing you here is at the very top of the screen, you'll see this little A right here. That right there is what's called read aloud. It's essentially text-to-speech software. So I would just place my cursor where I want it to read, and it would just go ahead and read it. So as you can kind of see, it's going through here, and my logo is covering up the actual ticker here. But you get the idea. You can pause it. You can change the settings, make it sound a little bit different. You can do the speed slower. You can do the speed faster. There's so much that you can do in this. It's really, now here's where I need you to kind of understand what you're shooting for on this one. You're not watching it read it to you. You're going to let it play off to the side, put on some headphones, and anytime that you hear a mistake, pause it, correct it, go back to the start of a sentence or the start of a paragraph for better context, then press play and go all the way through, and you can listen to this. If you can, what I would say to you is make sure that you enable sound. Let me see here, just a moment, and I'm sure I can probably, no, okay. Not an issue, but you are able to share desktop audio when you do use something like Restream or even Restream Pro, all the Restream plans at any rate. Okay, moving forward, we've done the 3 quick rounds of edits. So you're probably saying to yourself, all right, dude, like what comes next? Because you've already got me working like crazy. And trust me, it gets a little bit easier because now you got to kind of step outside of yourself here. Again, you've got a little bit of bias. This is your baby. This is your creation. You're going to look at it a lot differently than someone who's an outsider. So this is where you're going to want to hire an editor. This is not going to be streamed, okay, unless your editor wants to do that. And folks, don't hire your mom, okay? Again, no bias is allowed, because if we're just going to go hire my mom or my wife or something else like that for the manuscript, I might as well just stick to editing it myself. So you can find editors for as cheap as 1 cent to 10 cents per word. 1 cent's bargain basement, by the way. Closer to probably 5 to 10 cents. You can find different editors through services like Fiverr or Upwork. Just do your due diligence. And if you know somebody else who's had their book edited and it's similar to your niche, reach out to them and say, hey, I'd like to hire an editor. Yes, this is going to cost a little bit of money, but it will be worth it because you want to make sure this manuscript is impeccable by the time it hits the marketplace. One of the worst things to happen is you put out this hammered garbage. People have joined you the whole time, and all of a sudden they read it. It's going to be, expectations are going to drop, and their opinion and respect for you is going to drop. So invest in this step. So worth it. So the next step in the editing process, as soon as you get it back from your editor, make all the corrections that are necessary, and then rinse and repeat. I typically will go for another 1 to sometimes 2 rounds. So I will go through, do the 3 quick edits, send it on back over to the editor, fix it again, bring it back, do that, rinse and repeat. And as soon as it is done, after 2, maybe 3 times with the editor, is when I go ahead and put a pin in it and I go to the very next step. And that step, of course, is going to be, and a lot of people probably already know this one, it's proofreading. Now, a few people are a little bit mixed up when it comes to proofreading and editing. Editing is real deep. There's so many layers of editing. I can spend an entire broadcast with you right now telling you the types of editing that's available. Proofreading is essentially almost like taking your car to the car wash, and then a group of dudes comes over, starts slapping on some wax, and they're making it shine. Proofreaders do that. They make your vehicle shine and make sure that it is as showroom ready as possible. So that way, when people buy it, they're super, super, super happy. So this is the part I get a lot of pushback from people within the indie author community, because they're like, I hire my proofreaders. Great. That's fantastic. I hope you continue to hire proofreaders. I'm going to recommend for those of you out there is you're already going to be live streaming. Why not ask for beta readers, meaning people who will receive your manuscript so that way they can go through, pick out any issues that might have been missed by the editor or by you in some of the processes. Really, you're not going to want too many readers, because too many chefs in the kitchen spoils the soup, I think is how it goes. And in this specific instance, you want to maybe have 3, no more than about 6 beta readers. So if you were already broadcasting across platforms like YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, just like I am right now, then chances are very likely there's going to be some people who were joining you that said, you know what? I'd love to get my hands on that. I saw a couple things that you typed out during your live broadcast, and I can go ahead and fix those things. And then they're probably going to be shocked when they see that those things were fixed already. But nonetheless, the proofreaders are going to iron out those finer details. The best platform when it comes to hosting your manuscript. Don't just simply send them an email with your manuscript. You really want to kind of keep this professional and hosted somewhere that's very reliable. For me, I do it through Story Origin. It's my preferred platform. They will hold onto your manuscript safely. And then when someone gets your manuscript, they have to put in their email and all that type of stuff. And that way they can download that, and you're tracking that progress with your beta reading team. Go over to dalelinks.com/storyorigin. Get yourself set up with at least a free account. And then if you need to upgrade for other features, go ahead. But love me some Story Origin. I can't say enough great things about them. I've used them on every book since, oh gosh, this time last year when I went ahead and launched Amazon Keywords for Books. So in any event, they handle the file delivery and the contact details. The nice thing is when they're done, they'll send that manuscript with any type of notes and suggestions, and it's up to you to just be picky and choosy about some of the advice. Some stuff might make complete sense. 99% of the time it is, but every now and then some people will give you an opinion that maybe you disagree with. Don't view it as an attack. View it as a way that you can hopefully get a good pulse on who your potential readers are and what they can come to expect, because it might be worth it. But on the other end of things, if it sacrifices a little bit of your message and a little bit of you to agree with them, then don't. It's okay. They're there to help you out, and they're doing it, by the way, 100% free. It's a nice thing about having beta readers. Okay, so next step in the process. And by the way, we're going to have a live question and answer here towards the end of the broadcast. I'm giving you a lot of information, so hang in there for sure. Alrighty. I'm going to close out my other manuscript there and don't need to save that. All right. Next up. Now we've got to really put the hype train into overdrive. You've got to go really deep on this one here. All right. Advanced Reader Copy Team. You also hear it referred to in the industry as an ARC team. Essentially, someone gets an advanced copy of your book before it goes out from publishing, okay, in exchange in the expectation that they will leave a review upon launch. Now, you might be saying to yourself, okay, whoa, hang on a second. Why am I having to do this extra bit of work? It's going to be worth it. Here's the deal. ARC members get early access in exchange for that review on launch day. Reviews equals social proof. Social proof equals more potential sales. In fact, there was a case study done, and I'm sorry, I got to be anecdotal about this. I'm forgetting the actual study. You can probably Google it up. There was 2 products of equal measure that were launched with only 5 reviews on one of them, and the other one had 0 reviews. And I believe it was roughly 200% difference in sales from the product with 5 reviews and the 0 reviews, meaning that the 5 reviews compelled more buyers to invest in that specific product. So know that reviews play an integral part to the success of your book launch. So now that we know that, well, of course, you're probably saying, okay, I'm building an advanced reader copy team. How many people can we have on the team? As many as you would like. I want you to think about something here in just a minute here about, it's about numbers. And the more people who have on your team, the more likely you're going to have more reviews and more sales upon launch day. So with all of that said, how do you deliver the manuscripts? Well, you remember I told you about Story Origin? That's it. Like literally, we can go back another screen here. Give me just a second. Story Origin. You're just going to go on over there, and there's actually what's called advanced reader copy, review copies is what they will put down. And you essentially have people sign up at a given link Story Origin will give to you. They go to a landing page, they choose the type of document that they want to download, and then they're good to go. So ARC teams are rather simple to do, but sometimes the results may not be quite what you were looking for. Before we dive into that, it's important to know that something like the platform called Story Origin, when your book goes live, you would then go into your Story Origin dashboard and send a notification out to all of the ARC team members. So that way they know where the book is being sold and where they can leave a review. And it also gives a gentle reminder to some of the people that are dragging their feet, maybe not reading your manuscript, and they could probably get a jump on something like this. But it's okay if not everybody leaves a review on the same day. A review is a review. It's nice to get it, and especially consistently. So realistic expectations when it comes to your ARC team. Be very realistic. And I believe this is on Dave Chesson's Kindlepreneur website where he discussed this. Actually, it was a guest post by someone that literally 3 out of 10 people are going to leave a review for your book. You're probably thinking to yourself, oh my gosh, I just gave away free copies of my book and only 3 of the people out of the 10 left a review. That's okay. You're not losing out on sales per se. In fact, you'll find in most instances, your art team members on launch day are sometimes more than happy to purchase the manuscript and leave a review because, again, they've been following you throughout the whole process. So they are invested in this. So know that it's going to probably be an average of about 3 out of 10. So if for some reason on launch day, you want to have upwards of 30 reviews, then chances are very likely that you're going to need to have 100 people on your advanced reader copy team. If you don't have a very large following, especially when you're doing the live streaming, then you may want to temper your expectations with the reality. There was 10 viewers and they sign up, then 3 of them are going to probably leave a review after launch. That's okay. Done is better than perfect. And again, some people will take their time putting the reviews up and it still is going to be great. All right, we got all that stuff out the way. And you're probably saying to yourself, okay, dude, you're talking on Restream's page on YouTube and Facebook and everywhere else. What the heck? Where does live streaming come into this process? Hopefully you've kind of drawn 2 and 2 together on the whole process of live streaming this, because you're going to live stream the 3 quick rounds of edits. Heck, when you get it back from your editor, you can go right back live, do it again, and then do it again if you wish. Now, in the proofreading process, maybe not so much. You can probably do maybe a live reading of some sort, but either way, one of the things that I do is I will set up time productivity sprints. And it's really, really super simple. Honestly, I just put on a timer and I set it all up. And this is my preferred avenue. It's pomofocus.io. By the way, they don't pay me to say this. It's free to everybody. And you could literally put any type of timers that you want to. And they have a Pomodoro timer, which means you go for 25 minutes of work with 5 minutes rest between. Remember that 5 minutes rest because it's absolutely paramount. You can be quiet during your editing process, or if you'd like to be verbal, go ahead. I'd recommend kill your mic, do the editing process without talking, display the process of editing, and just have your timer off to the side and let people know, hey, during the 25 minutes, I'm going to be really focused. I'll pay attention to the chat every now and then, but in 25 minutes, we're going to take a 5-minute break. You're going to do this 4 times around. And if you want to do it an additional 4 times, make sure you take a 15-minute break in between. This type of productivity sprints really is tremendous. You'll find you will get a lot accomplished when it comes to the Pomodoro method. So next up is going to be how to screen capture the writing process. Folks, I've been talking about this since the start here. Restream literally has a screen share. You saw me share everything on here. This is kind of cool. You can even see my outline here for today's broadcast. Okay. And I can just drag and drop this inside Restream Live Studio. This is amazing. And you have this, by the way, in the free account all the way up to the pro account. I just like the pro account because I get to aggregate out to a ton of different other platforms. In fact, I think I'm broadcasting to probably 7 or 8 different avenues today. Let me know where you're watching from, by the way. A big banana sticker to anybody that can tell me right now. Okay, so let's move this manuscript back out of the way and bring it on over here. So you're going to want to make sure you share the whole process. Use whatever program you wish to edit. It doesn't matter. Select the screen share feature in Restream. By the way, you can get access to 7 days free of the pro plan when you visit dalelinks.com/restreampro. So what happens after the live broadcast? Okay, you can do any number of things, but might I recommend that you keep the video up, whether it's on Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, Twitch, any of those platforms, just leave it up. If you have the ability to edit the video down, I'd recommend you do so. So that way, when it starts, maybe you have an explanation just before you go into it. That's probably about the time that you'll have it. So remove anything before you start the sprints. Why is that? People can then come back and actively participate time and again. And I've had, gosh, thousands of views on some videos over on YouTube because people go back and challenge themselves to using these productivity sprints. And they also secretly in the background, they're going to start to think about this. They're like, oh yeah, Dale's got a book coming up. He was editing in here. So it keeps you front of mind as you're doing something like this. And it also gives viewers a reason to write along again and again. That's going to be the most important thing, is building out that tribe with your live streaming. So how did I publish this book? Gonna have to stay tuned. Honestly, there's more to come. This is going to be a 7-part series. This is only the second part, because the very next process next week we're going to be discussing, it's not going to be so much related to the live streaming element, but more towards publishing. Can you live stream publishing? Sure, you could, but there's going to be sometimes some sensitive information, but you're in luck, because next week I actually will walk you through the entire process of publishing your ebook, your print book, and your audiobook. It's going to be easy peasy. You're going to find it's smooth sailing on that point, but it's going to be the subsequent episodes thereafter where I'm going to show you some of the other best practices and some ideas to consider to maybe think outside the box, especially if you're a video content creator who hasn't broke into the space of writing or publishing. Vice versa, those of you that are in the world of writing and publishing, you'll be able to see more on how live streaming really is one of the best vehicles for marketing and promoting your business, your brand, and your future book. All righty. So I'm going to go over to the live question and answer. I see a lot of you tuning in. Super excited to see you guys turn out. I'm coming on over here too. All right. So I see some people are watching from YouTube. I do have a tab open of the stream on Twitch too. Nice. See, look, that's a great example. You know, sometimes people just will come in and help support. All right. So Eddie Amati says, thank you for this information. Eddie, thank you very much for tuning in. Waters Trio gave me a thumbs up. Thank you so much over on Twitch. Waters Trio, I appreciate it. ML Bull says, all right, there we go. I love using text readers while editing. ML Bull, you get me. You get me. Yes, for sure. That is honestly one of the best ways to pick out any errors, because we are naturally inclined to not see the faults in our stuff. And as much as we like to say, oh, I'm my worst critic, you can be your worst critic, because Lord knows I am, and I will miss some of the most ridiculous of errors. I'll send it over to editor, and I'm like, how the heck did that make it through? I'll start to say, what the heck happened here? But I think when I had started putting in the text-to-speech readers, it's really good. By the way, if you use Google Docs, I think you actually have to do like a plugin or an extension of some sort, and it works just fine. I've used it before, and I think I used it in an example video. But great. Big shout out to ML Bull. Thank you so much for that. And by the way, if you have questions, please drop them in here and let me know. Have you done live streaming and writing, or have you participated in any live writing sprints or productivity sprints? And Easy Graphics puts a really good way, wherever you're watching from, like the like button. Yes, like it. Hit that thing. It doesn't matter where you're watching, YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, you can hit that like, and I'd love it if you just go ahead and share it with somebody. Mojo said, I had to think how many edits I do. I don't do quick though. This is great. I'm glad you bring this up, Mojo. When I say quick, doing the quick edits and such like that, it's where I want everybody to kind of think, not like fast as you can go. Sure, I said that. It's more of don't spend too long on any one item. Meaning that if you get caught up on a sentence and you're like, oh, it's got passive sentence structure, what do I do with this? Don't worry about it. And especially if you're live, if you spend too long on it, what I would say is highlight that passage, wait for the productivity sprint to be done, and then in the 5-minute break, say, hey, I'm having a problem with this sentence. Can you help me reword this? That's probably a great way. But quick is relative. Quick meaning don't spend too long on any real big issues. That's why I hire an editor, because she sweats the whole thing for me. So that way, when I bring it on through, I can do all the quick stuff. So, all right, I'm going to scroll up here. Thank you very much for following Fragilities over on Twitch. I appreciate it. Keith Phillips says, thanks for the information. Keith, thank you very much for watching. I appreciate that there, buddy. Turnip Seed Productions says, good afternoon. Good afternoon to you too. Hoping to hit 3 milestones by August. What are those milestones? Would love to hear what those are. Here we go. Easy graphics. Ooh, definitely good to show quick editing process using Pro Writing Aid. Yes. And I will tell you this, if you pick up Pro Writing Aid, again, shameless promotion here, go over to dalelinks.com/pro writing aid to get yourself access. Yes, that's an affiliate link. So if you end up purchasing it, I will get a portion of that, but I'm not going to stand behind this product if I didn't fully believe in it. So I'm going to drop this inside of the chat here, and it should come out to your respective avenues. If it doesn't, you're going to have to type it up. So in any event, can't post messages to some of these. Okay, so Mojo chimes in here. This is a great one. I typically do Microsoft, Speech, Grammarly while I still have the subscription, Pro Writing Aid, and then send it to my editor. Yeah, I used to use Grammarly like exclusively, and then I got turned on to Pro Writing Aid, and they've really improved their product since day one. I honestly, Grammarly just, it costs a pretty penny after a while, because I think it runs like, if you can get on a sale, like typically $9 per month, and that adds up. And then the following year, you'll typically pay $14 to $15 per month for a Pro Writing Aid. Excuse me, it's much cheaper. It has more robust features and reports. And also you can buy a lifetime license. Highly recommended. If you do go over to my link, there's a 20% off the lifetime license. If you got the discretionary expense, get it. You won't regret it. Here we go. Rusty Knox. Rusty Knox, actually, Rusty is one of the people who actually joined me on some of these sprints and such. And he actually wrote a lot of his stuff on mobile. He was, I think, either voice dictating it, and please correct me if I'm wrong on this one, Rusty. But I did some of the writing sprints using voice typing, yes, while I was delivering mail. Multitasking was not my strongest suit, but I did get a couple of good chapters in. So this is kind of cool. Even though he was busy with other things, he took the time to work along with me. And I think that's where people really, really get excited. I unfortunately dropped the ball. I was actually going to do some more writing sprints back in July, because it's Camp NaNoWriMo. And you're supposed to try to write a novel in the course of a month. So in any event, Rusty joined along, and other people joined along, and people were clamoring, and I missed out on July. So, alrighty. Okay, here we go. Easy Graphics has got a great question. Keep the questions coming here, folks. I'll stick around here for as long as you need the questions answered. Oh, and by the way, let's put that graphic overlay. The team over at Restream really went out of their way to make sure that we had a cool looking overlay. There we go. And we can probably shut off the screen share right now. We don't need that anymore. All right, here we go. So my boy Easy Graphics here, he's got a question. Do you recommend YouTube channels with under 50 subscribers to live stream the writing of a new book in a non-publishing writing niche? I'm thinking investment niche here. Yes. Even if it's less than 50, what I would really recommend to you is rely on search traffic when it comes to YouTube. So when you title your stream and you find specific keywords you want to integrate into your description as well, and then to a certain extent your tags, make sure all that is optimized. You want to have it search engine optimized, so that way it's discoverable, because you have a small following, and I hate to call it a small following. It's still significantly more than zero, right? But you've got these 50 subscribers. The likelihood of them being online at the same time as you is not very strong. So for instance, over on my YouTube podcast channel right now, we've got about 7 people that's watching the broadcast, despite having 1,700 subscribers. Why is that? Well, it's timing. Sometimes people are at work during this time. If I maybe did it later, or I did it on a weekend. So being aware of good timing and getting it search engine optimized is going to be ideal. And make sure you make a good thumbnail. So in Restream Pro, you're able to schedule some events like I did for today's broadcast, and I did last week's broadcast. And when you go in there, you're going to end up scheduling an event and then opening you'll schedule the event, and you'll end up uploading your thumbnail for the broadcast, and get that thumbnail dialed in. If you're just phoning in the thumbnails, and you're doing like maybe like the freeze face for the thumbnail, that's not going to be a good way to gain the favor of YouTube's algorithm. So I'd highly recommend get the title, get your descriptions, to a certain extent your tags, and your thumbnail all dialed in. And then something like Restream Pro will really help you out in that you can schedule the event out and build hype around that. Let people know, because just going live for the sake of going live without inviting people is like throwing a party and wondering, well, why is there's nobody here? So you really want to make sure you tap into that 50 subscriber base. Post something on your, oh gosh, at a smaller following. I don't think it's called a community tab. I think it's called a discussion tab. So use that discussion tab, get on social media, dip into your email list, reach out to other creators on YouTube or Facebook or beyond to help build some of this hype train. Maybe do a little bit of an exchange with that person and have them ship in. But all that to say this, there is a way that you can still do the live streaming. And let's not forget the fact that it will have a replay. If you leave it up, this is another opportunity for people to join in. Might I recommend, though, Easy Graphics, that you edit down the specific broadcast to the actual productivity sprint so people can continue to go back. You don't want to have it to where the first 15 minutes, sure, for your live viewers is great, but when someone watches this on the replay and they're 15 minutes in and you're still bloviating, they're going to go, I just want to come here for a productivity sprint. And this guy's talking all the time. Yeah, skip to the chase. Give them what they want. So make sure that you can edit that down. Other areas that's probably going to be a little bit more problematic. Twitch, you can clip it down if you wanted to. Facebook, it's a little bit more difficult. You can probably download, edit it down, and then upload it. I would say just leave it alone and maybe put like a timestamp of some sort, like right at the top of the description saying 15 minutes in, we start the productivity sprints. What you should do is, before you go into that sprint, make sure that you fully disclose to people what you're going to be doing. Hey, today we're going to be doing a writing sprint. It's going to include the Pomodoro method, which is 4 sprints of 25 minutes of work and 5 minutes break in between. And when you lay that groundwork, make sure you lay the groundwork every break, because not everybody's going to be fully aware of what's going on. And here's the really cool thing. By the way, you can actually pop up different things inside this chat for Restream that might even describe to people without looking in the description, because obviously you'll probably put in the description what your writing sprints are about, but you can always highlight a specific comment or pop it up, or you can even put in different captions and different type of graphics that will support that. So I hope that helped out, Easy Graphics. Great question. Joe Carroll asked, what would you think about using Patreon to do an episode type thing like Vela? I know it would working better once you have a sizable audience. Yeah, actually, that's not a bad idea. So get it to where there's like a paywall of some sort before people can actually join in. If you've got a smaller following, like someone like Easy Graphics, I would recommend don't put a paywall in place, because you're obviously wanting to grow your following and build that hype. But let's say you've already got a substantial following, then maybe you want to put it behind a paywall. Or even if you're on YouTube, you can make it a members only live chat or a members only video of some sort. That can be done many, many different ways. Me personally, I'm not going to put a paywall up on my stuff because it's indirectly promoting my work that I'm going to be releasing eventually. That's the name of the game, is you want to stay in front of mind for most people. If you're putting up a paywall, not everybody's going to be as invested then. They're like, ooh, I got to pay $5 on Patreon in order to do the writing sprints. Nah, I'll just look up another thing. That's cool. You know, not many people are going to be as invested if you're not at least providing value up front, which is allowing them to come in free. But that's just my opinion on the thing. So Kathy Menken says, just join you in a writing sprint, nothing more. Yeah, no writing sprints today, Kathy. No writing sprints today. Okay, I'm scrolling through. How did you install Pro Writing Aid in Microsoft Word? It literally is a link. When you go to Pro Writing Aid, go to dalelinks.com/Pro Writing Aid. You could get the free plan if you want to. They'll probably show the paid plans at first. Just simply go over and hit like create account or log in of some sort, and it'll put you on in there. And honestly, there's just like a download button for Microsoft Word. It will update. I think probably I get a notification to update the software maybe once per month, twice per month, every now and then, because they're constantly trying to improve what they're doing. That's one of the reasons why I love having lifetime license, because I'm not having to continually pay for that. We're going to go one more question here before I wrap things up. Here we go. Kathy said, since this is about streaming, what I'd love to see is a day with Dale and Kelly, show the background of your work, the good and the bad. Just a thought. Kathy brings up a great point. If you're an author, another way to kind of build hype is share a little bit of your personal life if you are comfortable in doing so. For me, I do it occasionally. I will do it over on Facebook. Maybe after all the self-publish and stream series is set, we can probably consider doing something like that. So Easy Graphic says, thanks for the answer. You got it, my friend. I appreciate it. Okay, I see it. Thanks. Awesome. Good stuff. All right. Make sure Word is closed. Oh, to add the app. Yes, you've got to make sure that Word's closed. And anytime they do the update, you have to close it out and open it up again. You will notice that, and I think we did it at the very beginning of the broadcast, where I had a very large manuscript. If it tends to be a little larger, it's going to take a little longer for ProWriting Aid to actually go through and fix that stuff. So, all righty. So, folks, we are starting to wrap up today's broadcast. Hey, again, stay tuned for this 7-part series. We're going to be doing part 3 this next week, talking about the publishing process and how we can get you out into 3, if not 4 different avenues for book publishing. This is going to be next week, Tuesday at 2 p.m. Wherever you're watching me at, I'll be back here again. So it could be on YouTube, it could be Facebook, it's Twitch, it's also on LinkedIn Live. I'm everywhere. All thanks to my pro version of Restream. You can get a 7-day free trial of Pro when you go visit dalelinks.com/RestreamPro. You will thank me. It's one of my favorite things. I'm a fanboy of Restream long before Restream came along and brought me into the fold here for the self-publishing stream series. In the meantime, folks, this has been Self-Publishing with Dale in cooperation with Restream, and I will catch you folks next week.